أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. Dear respected viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be upon you all. My name is Amreen Mahmood and I am the General Secretary for Minhaj Sisters UK. And on behalf of Minhaj Sisters, I would like to warmly welcome you all to our third Al-Tazkiya. I pray you and your loved ones are all well and safe during the coronavirus pandemic, and that you all are adhering to the restrictions within your given countries. Al-Tazkiya is a project of Minhaj Sisters UK, and our aim is to strengthen the bond of sisterhood, increase our knowledge, enhance our spiritual state, and at the same time address and tackle issues faced by sisters living in the Western world. So due to the current pandemic, our residential retreat was not possible, but the past 2 years, Al-Tazkiya has become very popular among sisters that we knew that they would be very disappointed, and given the nature of the current pandemic, with everyone isolating and being far from family and friends, is indeed a very difficult and stressful time. So in order to be a beacon within this dark period, we decided to go online, so that the sisters have something to look forward to and benefit from. I would also like to take a moment out to thank Sister Bisma Ali and her team on behalf of Minhaj Sisters UK for working tirelessly day and night over the last couple of months to bring Al-Tazkiya 2020 online. And now that we are online, we have no restrictions or barriers. We have gone global, and now you can taste or have a taste of Al-Tazkiya in the comfort of your own home. As with all the Islamic events, I would like to officially commence Al-Tazkiya 2020 with the greatest of all praises. I would like to invite Sister Atiya Parveen from Nelson to recite in her beautiful voice some verses from the Holy Quran. Now, Sister Atiya Parveen is currently studying BA Honours in Teaching and Learning Support in Primary, and also teaches nasheeds to young girls under Hushbu Hassan. Moreover, she's learning the art of Qiraat under the supervision of Qari Fakir Muhammad Masoodi, and teaches the Holy Quran to the young sisters. I present you the very talented Sister Atiya Parveen from Nelson.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن للمتقين مفازا حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب أترابا وكأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا رب السماوات والأرض رب السماوات والأرض رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا ذلك اليوم الحق ذلك اليوم الحق ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا صدق الله العظيم.
MashaAllah, this was Sister Attiya Parveen from Nelson reciting the verses of the Holy Quran in her beautiful voice. MashaAllah, well done, Sister Attiya. It was totally amazing. Now, Minhaj Sisters UK is a forum of Minhaj Quran International, and Minhaj Quran International is a multi-dimensional organization and is actually a non-government worldwide funded organization. It spans and has the presence of over 99 within 99 countries and spans over 5 continents. The founding leader, His Eminence Sheikhul Islam Dr. Muhammad Tahir al Qadri, has worked tirelessly for over 4 decades to be able to provide the Muslim Ummah with the true image of Islam, with the true teachings of Islam, and revive the dying values of Islam so that he may connect the young Muslims to Allah Almighty and to the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. As I mentioned, that Minhajul Quran is a multi-dimensional organization, and hence it has many different forums within the organization to cater for the needs and serve humanity on different levels. And Minhaj Sisters UK is one of that forum to serve the sisters. Now, Huzur Sheikhul Islam, Dr. Muhammad Tahir al Qadri, wanted to give a voice to the women, Muslim women within the Western world. So he created the forum to allow us Muslim women to raise issues, to tackle them, to address them, and counteract them, and and face these challenges in a friendly environment. Simply put, we are a platform for British Muslim women, run by the British Muslim women. Before I invite Al Hanana for reciting the Nasheed in the court of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I would like to introduce or give a brief introduction to these amazing young ladies. Sister Afifa is currently the Senior Coordinator for Scotland and has recently graduated with BSc Honours in Orthoptics, specialising in vision and eye-related brain disorders from Glasgow Caledonian University. And Sister Haneen Fatima is currently studying aerospace engineering at University of Glasgow and has recently delivered a fantastic public speaking course, not only to our young members of Minhaj Sisters, but to our older sisters who felt they needed guidance in public speaking and in boost of their confidence. Sister Aisha Ahmed is in her final year of dentistry at University of Glasgow, and she is multi-talented and self-taught in various musical instruments ranging from duff, guitar, and I believe currently the piano. Not only are these intelligent young women, but equally fantastic in reciting the nasheeds of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Without further ado, I present you Al Hanana.
Allahumma salli ala al-Mustafa Habibna Muhammad alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala al-Mustafa Habibna Muhammad alayhi salam. I haven't got the force, no strength between my sides. Why feel such remorse when the Maker provides? I haven't got the force, no strength between my sides. Why feel such remorse when the Maker provides? أنا عبد ربي له قدرة يهول بها كل أمر عسير. فإن كنت عبدا ضعيف القوى فربي على كل شيء قدير. I haven't got the force, no strength between my sides. Why feel such remorse when the Maker provides? تهدي إشعالية وأنا عبد مملوك والأشياء مقضية ما في التحقيق شكوك. ربي نذر فيا وأنا نذري متروك في الأرحم الأحشاء من نطفة صورني. I haven't got the force, no strength between my sides. Why feel such remorse when the Maker provides? I haven't got the force, no strength between my sides. Why feel such remorse when the Maker provides? أنا مالي فياش بيشعلي مني، أقلق من رزقي لاش والخالق يرزقني. أنا مالي فياش بيشعلي مني، أقلق من رزقي لاش والخالق يرزقني. أنا مالي فياش يشعلي مني، أقلق من رزقي لاش والخالق يرزقني. اللهم صل على المصطفى حبيبنا محمد عليه السلام. اللهم صل على المصطفى حبيبنا محمد عليه السلام. حبيبنا محمد عليه السلام. يا إمام الرسل يا سندي، أنت باب الله معتمدي. فبدنياي وآخرتي يا رسول الله خذ بيدي. قسما بالنجم حين هوى والمعافى والسكيم سوى. فاغلى الكونين أنت سوى حبي مولى العرب والعجم. يا إمام الرسل يا سندي، أنت باب الله معتمدي. فبدنياي وآخرتي يا رسول الله خذ بيدي. سيد السادات من مضاري، غوث أهل البدر والحضر، صاحب الآيات والسور، منبع الأحكام والحكم. يا إمام الرسل يا سندي، أنت باب الله معتمدي. فبدنياي وآخرتي يا رسول الله خذ بيدي. قمر طابت سريرته وسجاياه مسيرته، صفوة البري وخيرته، عدل أهل الحل والحرم. يا إمام الرسل يا سندي، أنت باب الله معتمدي. فبدنياي وآخرتي يا رسول الله خذ بيدي. يا رسول الله خذ بيدي. قمرون قمرون قمر سيدنا النبي قمرون وجميل 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 سيدنا النبي وجميل وكف المصطفى كالورد نادي الله الله وإتره يبكى إذا مست أيادي الله الله وكف المصطفى كالورد نادي الله الله وإتره يبكى إذا مست أيادي الله الله وأما نوالها كل العباد وأما نوالها كل العباد وأما نوالها كل العباد حبيب الله يا خير البراء يا قمرون قمرون قمر سيدنا النبي قمرون وجميل 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 سيدنا النبي وجميل ولا ذل له بل كان نورا الله الله تنال الشمس منه والبذور الله الله ولا ذل له بل كان نورا الله الله تنال الشمس منه والبذور الله الله ولم يكن الهدى لولا ظهورا ولم يكن الهدى لولا ظهورا ولم يكن الهدى لولا ظهورا وكل القوم ينال بنور طه قمرون قمرون قمر سيدنا النبي قمرون وجميل 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 سيدنا النبي وجميل صلاة الله سلام الله على طه رسول الله صلاة الله سلام الله على ياسين حبيب الله صلاة الله سلام الله على طه رسول الله صلاة الله سلام الله على ياسين حبيب الله توسلنا ببسم الله وبالهادي رسول الله وكل مجاهد لله بأهل البدر يا الله صلاة الله سلام الله على طه رسول الله صلاة الله سلام الله على ياسين حبيب الله إلهي سلم الأمة من الآفات والنقمة ومن هم ومن أمة بأهل البدر يا الله صلاة الله سلام الله على طه الله سلام الله على طه رسول الله صلاة الله سلام الله على ياسين حبيب الله على ياسين حبيب الله.
MashaAllah. Thank you to Al Hanana for these beautiful nasheeds. You were totally amazing. Now, the word At-Tazkiya means self-purification, to cleanse one's inner self, to take away the worldly desires from within, or rather move the focus away from the worldly day-to-day lives and commitments. For example, we become so absorbed in our lives, working, gaining education, looking after children, that we lose focus on the actual reason why we were placed upon this earth. We lose our connection with Allah Almighty. We lose our connection with the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We do pray, however, it's rushed with a million other things on our mind, ticking off our to-do lists that we seldom focus on what we are uttering, seldom ponder over what the meanings of the words that we are reading in our salam. And this becomes a daily routine for us because we want to get the salah over and done with because we have other things to do, other duties and commitments to fulfill. We lose our connection with Allah Almighty as a result. Now, keeping this in mind, Minhaj Sisters, by the advice of Shaykh al-Islam, Dr. Muhammad Tahir al-Qadri, started spiritual retreats to provide a platform for sisters to get together in seclusion for a few days and remember Allah Almighty and the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam so that they may reconnect to them, that they may turn back to them. These started off initially with 30 attendees and now has gone from strength to strength. And in the last year, with our residential retreat, we had over 200 attendees. And this year, we have gone global. And you could just imagine the numbers we can reach on this platform. So, on one hand, during our residential retreats of Al-Tazkiya, which we normally carry out, we balance the deen and dunya. So on one hand, we are enjoying the bonding sessions over the campfire, or zipping down the zip line and trying our hand at archery amongst various other activities. But at the same time, we are strengthening our identity as a Muslim woman through various talks and workshops, which enable us to become confident individuals and representatives of Islam within our communities. And moreover, we can start the journey of strengthening of our bond and listing our priorities in the correct order through dhikr, remembrance of Allah Almighty, and recitations of nasheeds, which is in fact the remembrance of the beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So now today, this online At-Tazkiya 2020 is there to take you away from the world and your daily day-to-day routines and lives, take away from these daily materialistic focuses and into the self-purification, to the spiritual purification, and also provide you with beneficial knowledge, thus bringing you close to Allah Almighty and the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and in reality to your deen of Islam. So why not be part of this good deed and pass this link on to your family and friends so that they too benefit from the spiritual purification and beneficial knowledge. I would like to invite Sister Ansa Hussain, who is the President of Minhaj Sisters UK, for a brief welcome. Now, prior to Minhaj Sisters UK, Sister Ansa Hussain has worked in various roles within MYL UK Sisters. And when MYL UK Sisters was renamed to Minhaj Sisters in 2016, she was appointed the coordinator for the north of England. And then In 2018, due to her hard work and dedication, Ansa was appointed as the president of Minhaj Sisters. As well as being the president, she's also the member of Minhajul Quran Executive Council UK. She's also a member of Minhajul Quran International social media team. In her hometown of Sheffield, she partakes in various activities and events, including interfaith, book clubs, and also organizes various religious activities throughout the year. No doubt she is a strong leader and is very dedicated to Minhaj Sisters and has continuously worked hard in building her team of volunteers who then in turn go out and carry out the work of various projects for Minhaj Sisters, focusing and catering for the needs of the British Muslim women. And one of these projects is Al-Tazkiya, starting from 2018, which was actually pioneered by Sister Amsa herself. Surprisingly, she manages to do this despite being a full-time mother to 5 beautiful children from the ages of 6 to 13. And that itself is very challenging, as you can imagine. She's always on the ball and literally is a call away, be it day or night. The superwoman of Minhaj Sisters UK, an inspiration and a successful woman in her own right. Ansa Hussain, President of Minhaj Sisters UK.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Sister Ambreen. I hope you're all well and keeping safe. So my name is Ansa Hussain, like Sister Ambreen has introduced me. And my position, obviously, as she has also said, President of Minhaj Sisters UK. Today, it is with great pleasure to welcome you all to Al-Tazkiya 2020, the Western Muslim woman. I would like to begin by saying a huge thank you to our project management team who have organized our very first virtual retreat. And for this, I would like to say a special thanks to Sister Bisma, Sister Atika, and Sister Imama, our volunteer project managers, and all the other volunteers that have helped put this together. I am sure you, like all of us, have had to adapt and change the way you do things because of COVID-19. I pray you and your families have been keeping safe during these tough times. I would also like to say a thank you to all our guests and hosts who you will get to see and hear from, inshallah, over the next day or two. So our sessions will be filled with knowledge, advice, help, and support for all of us. And we are also very grateful to the Minhaj al-Quran forums, including Minhaj Welfare Foundation and Minhaj Women League for their help and support in bringing this event together. I would also like to give a special thanks to Brother Abbas Ali Bukhari Sahab, the President of Minhaj al-Quran UK, and General Secretary, Brother Muazzam Raza. Al-Tazkiya is filled with a variety of speakers spanning different parts of the globe, from US, Canada, UK, to Indonesia and Australia. So the main focus of all the speakers is the touch on different aspects of how we can maintain a balance, even cope with being a Muslim or a woman and our environment. Now, Al-Tazkiya was set up around 3 years ago when Minhaj Sisters felt that we need to do something for our sisters that would help create a sense of belonging and sisterhood, empower us to allow us to boost one another and give confidence to us as Muslim women. Now, this has been even more important with the lockdown and people being isolated from one another. So you will see we have arranged interviews with some very influential and powerful sisters that I know you will enjoy, inshallah. We want to use Al-Tazkiya as a platform to provide support and advice on different issues that are important to Muslim women and those which will affect Muslim women. And this you will see in our workshops, inshallah, too. Al-Tazkiya is a space, your space, to improve on Islamic knowledge and also ask all the questions you want to be comfortable with. And that is why we have lectures and Q&A sessions for you to join in on. Minhaj Quran is our mother organization, which has given us this space to provide as a voice for Muslim women, especially in the West and more so in the UK. By doing so, we are able to break down and question the negative labels placed on Islam and show through our work what Islam teaches us and stands for. I hope you enjoy and benefit from this weekend as much as the team have enjoyed planning it and as excited as me. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places His barakah in our time we spend participating in these sessions, and I hope we are able to provide you with a memorable event. Please do not forget to give us your feedback on the experience. And before I go, I would like to request you that all of you take snaps when you are joining into your sessions and upload them to your Instagram with the hashtag Al-Tazkiya. Thank you for listening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for that, Sister Ansa. As Sister Ansa has mentioned, that Al-Tazkiya is one of the projects of Minhaj Sisters UK, and this in fact is our national project in which a team of sisters across UK come together and organize, prepare and conduct from start to finish the whole event. So through Al-Tazkiya, we're offering sisters to develop themselves, to become independent and become confident sisters in various projects and take leadership roles as well. Now, Minhaj Sisters UK has presence in many major cities, including London, Birmingham, Manchester and Glasgow. We have dedicated sisters across UK working on various projects, not only to cater for British Muslim women, but also for the communities that we live in. I'd like to list a few projects that we actually do. We carry out various workshops to ensure our sisters have opportunity to develop themselves, including public speaking, leadership skills, etc. We also have seminars, in which we collaborate with external organizations and speakers to provide and educate sisters in various topics. We also promote health by educating through online sessions, through face-to-face workshops. We also have workshops on issues tackling with online dangers for children, so that the parents are aware of how to tackle these amongst their children. We also have study circles and book clubs to increase our knowledge, be it religious or secular, as we are staunch believers of gaining and attaining education. We work for interfaith harmony so that we may integrate with different communities, different religions, so that we understand one another and find a common ground, so that we live in a peaceful, tolerant, respectful society. We believe that it is our duty to help those that are less fortunate, and we do that by running campaigns and feed the homeless, and we also deliver on a regular basis to food banks as well to help those who are poor or in a tight position. Minhaj Sisters recognize that there might be sisters who are out there who are very lonely due to various reasons. Hence, to reach out to them and make them feel a part of a community, of a part of a sisterhood, we have coffee mornings whereby they can come and have a cup of coffee, make new friends, and be able to interact with different people. And through that, we can tackle issues or any misconceptions that they might have, or any issues that they might want to address. So they know that Minhaj Sisters is a platform where they can have correct, up-to-date information, be it on religious or social issues as well. Now, as I said, we are a platform to inspire young sisters, to develop them into the leaders for the coming years. And just to provide you an example of an inspiring sister, I present you with a talented young sister, Humaira Qasim, all the way from Sheffield, to present you with her spoken word on women empowerment. She's a budding, talented young person, Humaira Qasim.
Women empowerment. I am a woman. What is your power? Fierce like the scorching sun, delicate like a flower. We love, we care, we can be your biggest nightmare. Our knowledge can take us to the moon and back, always get things done without any slack. Do you see any others multitask like I do? Look at all these so-called macho men, can't even try to. Carpe diem means to seize the day. Every day is ours, who cares what others say? They see us as slaves in the house who must work from dusk till dawn, when we were in fact made to enlighten the world from the day we were born. I am a woman, what is your power? Fierce like the scorching sun, delicate like a flower. Yes, Einstein discovered the wonders of science and possibly even more. But did you hear of Mother Teresa, who devoted her entire life to the poor? What are you? A woman? But not just that. You have the bark of a dog, but the purr of a cat. Don't think you are smaller than any other person. You can be a doctor, a teacher, or even a surgeon. These days are not days for us to realize that we are just strong, but to remind ourselves that we are right and they're always wrong. We are women. This is our power. Fierce like the scorching sun, delicate like flowers. Thank you.
MashaAllah, that was very beautiful, Sister Humaira Qasim. And I'd just like to say that Sister Humaira actually wrote that spoken word herself. Very talented, and can't wait to listen to you in the future as well.
Thank you.
May Allah Almighty bless you abundantly. A very beautiful message there by Sister Humaira. We at Minhaj Sisters, we believe in fixing one another's crown. We believe in lifting one another up rather than setting another person down. That is our power for Minhaj Sisters UK. Now, as everyone is aware, that we're undergoing this pandemic, and unfortunately, we are very restricted and haven't been able to socially or physically meet one another. So thereby, we couldn't really conduct our daily activities or weekly activities that we would have done during in a normal situation. So in order to keep our sisters active, we are aware that mental health plays a lot of issues in the isolation period where you have a very lack of contact. So in order to help our sisters as well, we have been having ongoing online activities from Ramadan till now. Every day at 8 o'clock, something's happening on our channel, Understanding Islam. And that is to equip our sisters with the knowledge, give them the independence and the confidence of researching, of presenting, of becoming confident speakers as well. But most of all, keep them busy and provide a platform where they can look forward to something different and out of their normal lifestyle and commitments that they have during this lockdown. So we have sessions on Thursday Thoughts by our Midland sisters. We have our study circles by our Scottish sisters. We have programs and gatherings of like Nasheed Jam sessions by the North sisters and beautiful workshops by the sisters from the South in England side as well. So we all come together to give a different flavour each week to provide you with knowledge, with beneficial knowledge, and something for you to look forward to and do in your spare time, especially in this pandemic. Now, if anyone is interested in this and interested in being a part of Minhaj Sisters UK, then drop us an email with your name, number, and where you live to secretary.sisters@minhajuk.org. The email address is there on the screen as well. So if you want to get in touch with us to be a part of Minhaj Sisters UK, or you want more information with regards to the activities that we do, or you want to be a part of the activities, or just want to pop in into one of our sessions just to see what's it like firsthand, then do so. This is all from me at the moment, and I'm going to pass you on to Sister Tanzeen Begum. But before I do that, I'd just like to briefly enlighten you that our keynote speaker, who is Dr. Ghazala Hassan Qadri, all the way from Canada, she has been providing amazing workshops in the past 2 years in Al-Tazkiya. You can find those lectures as well. And those are just not mere lectures. These are actually interactive workshops that cater for the need of the sisters in the Western world. We don't just tackle issues in the light of the Quran and the Hadith, but Dr. Ghazala Hassan Qadri actually tackles them with intellectual arguments and the arguments that we can use and utilize in our day-to-day lives. So I would urge you to listen to these past lectures as well, which we will probably provide a link in the comment section. But these are amazing for yourself, for your daughters, and they are very, very beneficial for the sisters that are living in the Western world. I hope you enjoy the remaining At-Tazkiya 2020, and I will be passing you on to Sister Tanzeen Begum, who will be hosting our panel session for today. So don't go away, just take a break, and she will be coming online in a couple of minutes.
How trial and tribulation can be overcome. So the first thing to understand is that self-identity and self-confidence are two concepts that are interrelated. In other words, they complement each other and they reinforce each other. So the strength of one's self-identity is what develops the strength of one's self-confidence. And so our identity acts as a compass. It acts as a guide, and most importantly, something that we can lean on, something that we can resort to in order to help us navigate and direct ourselves towards our ultimate destination and purpose in life. That is towards Allah Azza wa Jal, attaining His subhanahu wa ta'ala's happiness, His divine pleasure, love and proximity. Our identities essentially dictate the kind of life that we end up living, as well as the choices that we make and don't make for that matter. And in choosing an identity, we are adopting a particular lifestyle and mode of being, which, as we are all aware, has already been chosen for us by Allah Almighty, as He states, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, today I have perfected your deen for you and have completed my blessing on you. وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا, and have chosen for you Islam as a complete code of life. How trial and tribulation can be overcome. So the first thing to understand is that self-identity and self-confidence are two concepts that are interrelated. In other words, they complement each other and they reinforce each other. So the strength of one's self-identity is what develops the strength of one's self-confidence. And so our identity acts as a compass. It acts as a guide, and most importantly, something that we can lean on, something that we can resort to in order to help us navigate and direct ourselves towards our ultimate destination and purpose in life. That is towards Allah Azza wa Jal, attaining His subhanahu wa ta'ala's happiness, His divine pleasure, love and proximity. Our identities essentially dictate the kind of life that we end up living, as well as the choices that we make and don't make for that matter. And in choosing an identity, we are adopting a particular lifestyle and mode of being, which, as we are all aware, has already been chosen for us by Allah Almighty, as He states, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, today I have perfected your deen for you and have completed my blessing on you. وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا, and have chosen for you Islam as a complete code of life.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum and welcome to all the difficulties we've had. We just had some camera issues and audio problems, but we fixed them now, and I hope that this stream is coming to you with good quality, inshallah. So this is Minhaj Sisters' very first virtual some of these problems, so I hope you can forgive us for those. And I really hope that you do enjoy this experience. Minhaj, as Sister Ambreen said, and all the other sisters who have done a very wonderful introduction and opening 18. And because of coronavirus and because of COVID, this is our very first virtual one. So we really do hope that you enjoy it. I am Tanzim, and I will be your host today for the panel discussion. And what we're looking to do, inshallah, the hope is that we can produce a insightful discussion that you will find meaningful. And we really want you to perhaps learn how to articulate the issues and problems surrounding our subject matter, which is professionally hijabi. Some of us on this discussion panel, being a professional hijabi or professionally hijabi is something that comes with its own struggle. Some of us, however, may see this as a driving force, and yet there may be some amongst us who think that it's a contradiction in its own right, or maybe that it's irrelevant. However you take, even if you take no position at all, today's panel discussion is trying to ignite a spark in you. What we want to do is engage you, and through our panelists, especially hijabi, by looking at maybe the challenges that are associated with wearing the hijab, maybe looking at its empowering nature, is that cross-cut professionally hijabi that really influence it. Maybe they contradict it, or maybe they shadow it. And in the end, maybe this will grow even more when we give you pointers about how we can contribute, how we can engage with this professionally hijabi matter. So that really is our purpose for our panel discussion today, inshallah. And we really do hope that you enjoy it. The truth is, the reality is, whether this spark is dimmed with the passage of time, or whether it travels like a bolt of lightning, is really up to you. So I really do hope you're listening to it as much as I do. So this morning, we have with us today our moderator, who is Ghazala Hussain. She is a teacher by profession, but she's also a worker, and her main focuses are in education and also interfaith work, which she will touch upon in terms of her experiences with being a professional hijabi. We have Lauren Booth, our other guest, who unfortunately wasn't able to be with us here today. And she's really had to make a difficult journey from Turkey to the UK in the past couple of days because her mother is really unwell with COVID-19. So I would like everybody to take a moment before we start to remember Lauren Booth, and especially her mother and in the entire family in their prayers with us today. However, we do have our lovely two panelists with us today. That is Dr. Aya Siddiqui and Dr. Kiran Rahim. So I just want to introduce our panelists. The first being Dr. Aya Siddiqui. So Dr. Aya Siddiqui, she is a cosmetic dentist with a special interest in aesthetic medicine. She graduated from the University of Bradford in 2010 and PhD. She then went on to study at the University of Lancashire, where she gained a BA in dental surgery. But more than this, she has also presented research at the International Conference for the member of the British Dental Association and also a co-director for the Dental National Study Group, which is registered with the General Dental Council. So that is Dr. Aya Siddiqui, one of our panelists. Dr. Kiran Rahim is a doctor in the NHS and she's a mother to two boys. She's currently living and residing in London. She's also on Instagram, and her Instagram
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, good. I think we've got some technical issues with Sister Tanzim, so apologies for that. I want to say assalamu alaikum to all our viewers, to our esteemed guests, Dr. Aya and Dr. Kareem. Kiran, sorry. Hijab, a hot topic. I'm going to just really delve into it. I know we've lost some time and Dr. Aya has to leave because we've got patients to see. So hijab, a hot topic. Everyone is aware over the last decade, hijab has been very much believed and politicized. So much so that laws have even been passed to stop women wearing the hijabs in certain countries, in certain settings. We see the right-wing media has used it to win over the public by vilifying us. And most recently, our own Prime Minister has made last comment on our covering. So no doubt, the hijab for many Western Muslim women is a challenge. Our panelists have, in the face of these challenges, achieved a first-class education. They have successful professional jobs, and even on the side, they are influencers on Instagram. They provide for their families, run their homes, and contribute positively to the society that we live in. So we have these stumbling blocks, and the discrimination that we face seems very unfair and bigoted. So before we start the discussion, I just want to ask the panelists, starting with Dr. Aya, so she can share her hijab journey with us. Over to you, Dr. Aya.
Did you say my hijab decision?
Your hijab journey.
Okay. But basically, when I was younger, I didn't actually have a lot of Muslim influence around me. I had friends, etc., things like that, but I didn't particularly come from a practicing Muslim background. And when I was at university, I was going through a really difficult time in my life. I was really struggling, and I had a lot of mental health issues and things like that. And I called one of my friends who was in my life from the age of about 5. I was about 26 at this point. And I called her and I was crying down the phone and I was saying to her, nothing's going right in my life. I don't know what to do. I'm really struggling. Like, I was probably at the depth of kind of the mental health issues. And she said to me at the time, you've never given Islam or Allah a chance. Why don't you give this a chance now? Because you've got nothing else to lose. And I thought, okay, well, she's right there. I mean, there's nothing that can go wrong with me doing this. So I actually joined the Islamic Society at university, and I met a couple of girls. We became really, really good friends, and I found that they were on the same journey as me. And it was then we all kind of sat down and decided that we wanted to do something purely for the sake of Allah. It wasn't about anybody else. It wasn't about appearance. It was literally for the sake of Allah, to help us in our life. And one day we just all decided that we were going to do it, and we all put our hijab on and never looked back since, to be honest. And it just dramatically, massively changed our life, I'd say. It's been a couple of years now, and I love it.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Dr. Aya. Can we pass it on to Dr. Kiran to tell us about her hijab journey?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to talk on, I think, what is clearly a pertinent topic in our community. So I have been wearing a hijab since the age of about 17. So my ethnic background is that I'm Pakistani. So I think when I was growing up, I identified more with the cultural side of Islam, sometimes that we can see in South Asian communities. So, we fasted Ramadan. We prayed when we remembered, but it wasn't, Deen and Islam wasn't really at the forefront of everything that we were doing. And I remember going to a really, great college, and just being a typical teenager. I'm quite loud and eccentric, I think, is what some people might describe my personality as. And in college, I was unhappy in a way that I can't, in a similar way that I think Aya describes that sense of loss, be feeling lost rather. And we had a really great Islamic circle sometimes that happened at college, and I remember hearing a hadith about the importance of hijab and the strength of women and the beauty and the status that our deen gives to us. And I remember coming home and contemplating about it. And people often say, oh, was it something that you did overnight? And it really was something I did overnight. I went to bed so unhappy, and I woke up and I put on a hijab, and I was 17. I'm 34 this year. So alhamdulillah, it's been about 15 plus years. And it's challenging. I don't think anyone will disagree that observing and wearing a hijab in this day and age is a challenging process. But I know even when I started wearing it at college, it wasn't the easiest transition. And obviously people perceive you as a certain way before you observe it, and then almost overnight you're expected to behave another way. So it's been an interesting journey, to say the least. And then alhamdulillah, I got married when I was at university. So I've been married for almost 10 years. And my husband, has always encouraged me and has helped me find my faith even more, even when I felt really lost. And that's always just reinforced my belief that I'm doing this not for you, for my husband, not for myself. I'm actually doing it for our Lord. And that is a thing that keeps me going.
Thank you for those. I always find hijab journeys really fascinating. I know some people think, that was an interesting, I just put it on one day, but everybody has a journey, and I think that journey is quite significant. So let's kickstart this discussion. So my first question to the panelists, I know Dr. Kiran has touched upon it a little bit in her journey, is do you think the hijab is a challenge, a source of confidence, or does it make no difference to you as a professional who wears the hijab? So I'll start off with Dr. Kiran this time, if that's okay.
I think I've already said, it is challenging, and I think anyone that says they find it easy is probably lucky. I don't know any one of my hijabi friends that thinks it's a breeze. I think there are several different challenges. One of them, I think, is cultural. So much of the South Asian culture is around women looking beautiful and having long luscious hair and being able to like do their hair up at do's and stuff. So definitely I think, you know, over the course of the years, certainly when I was younger and I first started observing the hijab, you know, when you were like 17, 18 and you were going to like weddings and mehendis or henna parties or whatever it is, or birthdays even, or whatever it was you were engaging in, and not having that you know, that common thing with everyone else. Like when my cousins would wear like their lovely earrings and I would put on my hijab. I think, you know, those elements I really struggled with as I think a younger you know, adolescent. But as I've matured, I think the challenges have changed, and now I think it's a challenge in a societal way, in that I think society has become quite Islamophobic. I think it's become quite hijab phobic, and actually I think in many Muslim circles even today, you know, hijab is seen as something backwards, and you know, that women are forced into it, and it's that oppression. But I also think in a professional circle as well, I do think there are challenges, and I talk about this on my Instagram page, and I've written articles, you know, on this matter, that I do believe that if I wasn't in a hijab, I would be much more successful in my career, and in so many other ways, just because I know that the opportunities some people that don't wear hijabs have been given in settings where I wouldn't find myself. For example, in, you know, drinks in a pub after work, or at a bar, or in certain situations where I wouldn't actively place myself. So I do think there are lots of challenges for women facing hijab these days. And I think, you know, this is one of the reasons why, sadly, a lot of women are also choosing to take the hijab off, because instead of acknowledging these challenges and saying, yes, it's a very real issue in the Western Muslim society, we brush it under the carpet that, you know, oh, it's okay, everyone had, maybe her iman was low and maybe this happened. But actually, what we really need to look at is how, as a society and how, as a Muslim community, we are supporting women in hijabs.
Thank you. I'll give it over to Dr. Aya.
I think I just want to echo the same things that Kieran has said. I've been in the same position. We both come from very white collar professions where it's a white man in a white coat, and I think the first challenge you have is that you're a Muslim, then you have a challenge that you're an ethnic Muslim, then you have a challenge that you're a hijabi ethnic Muslim. So it's like everything's kind of against you. So yeah, 100% I would agree. It's very, very challenging. It's not easy at all. And like she just said, a lot of the times that where job offers are given or opportunities have arisen are in places where we wouldn't place ourselves necessarily. Now, a lot of the time I don't attend functions purely because of my hijab. I feel like because I wear a hijab, I represent Islam to a certain extent, and I want people to look at the way I present myself and associate that with Islam. So I don't want to put myself in places where people who don't really understand Islam think, oh, 1 second, you know, she's a hijabi and she does things like this, so it must be acceptable in Islam. Because that's the thing, they don't think that I'm a human, and they don't look at me for me, they look at me as a representation of Islam. So I have to really be mindful of the things that I do, because it plays such a large significance to our overall religion, but there's so much ignorance in the society as it is. So I would say 100% is quite challenging. Even things I know Kieran spoke about it, and there was an article on it, but PPE, that's been really, really difficult. Trying to find masks, wearing a hijab. You know, at the moment, I'm really struggling with a mask because I feel like I can't breathe. So I'm trying to purchase a hood. Now I'm trying to find a hood that fits over my hijab. Now, okay, I know I can just take my bun off and I can do my hijab in a different way, but why should I have to? There should be things that are available to me that still work within my hijab and things. So I'd say that. But I would like to touch upon one thing. For me personally, hijab also gives me a lot of confidence. And I think that's because, as I said on my journey, when I started wearing it, I wore it purely for the sake of God. So every decision that I make, I feel like I'm not alone in. So I feel like I'm doing this for my Lord, and therefore I have the backing of my Lord. And that gives me a lot of confidence in a lot of the things that I do. It reminds me, so for example, you know, if I've got an interview, or if I've got something that I need to attend, I look at myself. Yes, a part of me looks at myself and sees the challenge with the hijab, but the other part of me looks and says, well, I'm doing this for my Lord, and I know that my Lord's got my back. So if there's an opportunity that's going to come for me, it's going to come for me in a really good way.
MashaAllah. Thank you for those insights. You're giving us something all to think about, and obviously we were very much aware of these challenges, what we face. And Dr. Ayaz touched upon something what I was going to talk about next. You know, for me, I feel that the hijab is polices me in a certain way, and in a good way. I feel as well it polices me in a good way. So I'm very conscious about the way I conduct myself. So, for example, if I'm driving, I'm not going to cause any road rage because of this on my head. So I don't want to come across as this angry Muslim woman in that sense. And I'm always trying to break down stereotypes as a hijabi chairing meetings in the academic field. I'm wanting to come across as an intelligent professional individual. And when I'm facilitating interfaith dialogue, I'm constantly trying to convince people that we are not oppressed, we are not submissive, we are not passive beings. So my question to both of you, I know Dr. Ayaz touched upon this, is do you feel pressure to act in a certain way in the public persona because you are Instagrammers, and also give us an insight into your workplace as well because of your hijab? Dr. Aya, could we go with Dr. Aya?
I was thinking what you were going to talk to. Actually, so 2 years ago, I had to go to Lithuania to present some research. Now, you can imagine there's no colored person. Forget a hijab or anything. So when I went there, I was really mindful of my hijab because there was no one, not a single person there with a hijab. And everywhere I walked, they were absolutely lovely. They were so kind to people, very welcoming. But you could see that they were looking at me thinking, what's she wearing? Why is she wearing this headscarf? And the only kind of association they have it is with media, not with kind of us guys. So I was really mindful there. I had to think about everything that I was saying. I had to think about the way I was walking, the way I was presenting myself. All the things were quite challenging. With regards to work, 100%. As I was saying earlier, it's not even just about the hijab. It's the female, Muslim, Asian hijab. It's the whole thing. So I have patients coming in, and the amount of times people have said to me, "Where's the dentist?" And I'm sat there, and I'm like, "I am the dentist." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And it's and alhamdulillah, I'm turning it to a joke, and I try and kind of help educate them rather than take it really personally. But I think that's an insight. That's pretty much my daily life. I think things are getting easier now, as with a lot of hijabi professional women are going on Instagram and are becoming influencers. So I think the world is opening up a little bit for us, and people are more mindful that we are more than what we appear to be. But I do think that there's still a massive learning curve that needs to be done within society as a whole.
Completely agree with you there. And I know many of the Black women recently, there was a barrister who was stopped 3 times going into court just because they thought she was either the defendant, which is a shame. We are having to face these problems in our daily life, and we all get to face these. I know a head teacher, a female Muslim head teacher, who has several times been seen as the cleaner, viewed as a cleaner. And she played on that, she played on it, and even starts speaking, no, me not speak English, me not speak English. Maybe funny at that time, but it just shows in society we've got huge works to do in order to progress. Dr. Kiran, could you share your thoughts with us on this question?
So I will offer an alternative view, because actually I don't think the hijab polices me at all. I think it provides a moral compass for me. So, for example, I know I'm in a hijab, so you're not going to find me, I don't know, in a club somewhere or whatever. But actually, and I talk about this when I'm on my Instagram a lot, that the hijab doesn't change who I am. And I fear that sometimes the message that we give with wearing a hijab is that you have to lose your personality, and you have to lose who you are as an essence, in essence, homogenize with everyone else that wears a hijab. And that is absolutely not the case. It's really interesting because when I'm at work, and I'm a pediatrician, and I've been training as a doctor for almost 10 years now, I'm very goofy, and I'm very loud, and I'm playful, and I'm not. No one that knows me would say I'm very quiet or shy or whatever. And so I don't necessarily think that I change myself in order to fit my hijab, if that makes sense. I make my hijab work for me and my lifestyle whilst observing what we should do in an Islamic sense. And the other thing is, in terms of, we talked about confidence and things, and I think, unfortunately, wearing a hijab for me has never been a confidence issue, but we also have to tackle things like sexism and racism on top of Islamophobia. And unfortunately, because all of these things are often entwined, it's really hard to differentiate where this anxiety related to the hijab for other people is coming. So, I'm quite senior now, so I'm a senior registrar in my field, and I'm 5'2", so I'm tiny, and when I'm wearing scrubs without makeup, I look a lot younger than I do. And so often when I walk into a resus situation, or I'm, the most senior person there, people will assume A, I don't speak English, and B, that I shouldn't be there. And it's only when I start speaking that they can see, it's almost like a little thing that you see happen on their face, like, oh my God. And, I welcome that challenge, because I'm not going to let other people stereotype and their small mind. I've grown up in London, or, it's inappropriate for you to say that, or that's not a funny joke, or this is my team and I am the one leading this. And that's taken time. It's taken years to build that confidence, which is what I talk about. Our responsibility as a community is to enforce and instill that confidence in every Muslim woman in a hijab, so that when they stand in whatever circle, whether that's a stay-at-home mum or whether they are, I don't know, the CEO of their business, that we support them in pursuing their dreams.
Thank you. I mean, that's a really good insight as well. I mean, both of you have touched upon the two sides of this question. Great points raised. Great points raised. Now, there's something else I wanted to unpick generally, just making a narrow focus on the discussion. Now, gender inequalities are prevalent in our society. Yeah, we live so significantly. Women, we are significantly paid less. We are promoted less, as you have spoken about. We face issues of sexual harassment, and this list isn't exhaustive of what I've just said. There are so many other issues women have to face. Now, having that in mind, and then bringing back the hijab into it, do you think it's even harder for hijab wearing Muslim women to progress in the workplace or even be listened to? And do you think we share the same inequality, or do you think that we share the same inequalities as all the other women, or our inequalities because of the hijab are a little bit different? So I'd like to ask Dr. Kiran this time, because I know she touched upon this right at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I think we do have another element of inequality that we face in a hijab. And, we're talking about the workplace here, but actually, sadly, I think it begins in our own community from a very, very young age. And in order to change that, we need to change what, they say parity begins at home. So the change begins in our household. And I'm a mother of 2 boys, and inshallah, one day they will grow up and bring daughters into my home. And so I have a responsibility to raise these boys to respect women, to respect the hijab, to instill confidence in their wives and their daughters, to instill respect for women in their sons as well. And so, yes, absolutely. I think there is so much inequality and gender inequality in this world, but I think a lot of that inequality and misogyny and the patriarchy is within the Muslim community. And in order for us to challenge things in the workplace, we need to first challenge those notions in our own circles, in our own circles of influence, because we can't influence on a greater scale when our own community is so distorted. And it's really sad, because on my Instagram page, I hear it all the time, like young girls that reach out, my mum won't let me study because I'm a girl, my brother is concerned because I'm a girl, I wanted to wear a hijab, but my mum says no one's going to marry me, I'm not beautiful enough, why wasn't I born a boy? There are so many layers that chip away at a woman's self-esteem 16 from such an early age, and then we expect them to marry, we expect them to run households, we expect them to teach deen to their children, we expect them to be a great wife, a great mother, a great daughter, a great sister. But where have we taught them those skills? Where have we, as women, as mothers-in-laws, as sisters, as fathers and sons, where have we taught them and instilled that sense of self-confidence? Because you can't go out into the world and achieve things unless you believe in yourself. And for others to respect you, you have to have an element of self-love and self-respect.
Thank you. I mean, I agree with you that. I mean, because I am a mother of 2 boys as well, and I'm finding it really important that I'm instilling in them behaviors that maybe my male relatives don't have. I wasn't instilled in them. So we don't want to repeat the same mistakes. So it's really important as a mother. Dr. Aya, over to you.
I think I kind of want to echo what Dr. Kiran has said. A lot of the challenges I faced in trying to pursue a career have actually been within the community as opposed to externally. So, I might go to an interview and yes, there are challenges with me wearing a hijab, etc. But that's a lot of it down to ignorance. And a lot of the times, particularly the non-Muslim colleagues that I have, they're quite open to discuss things and listen to our versions and ask questions, and I invite the questions. So when I attend functions or I go to work, etc., it's not as much of a challenge. Yes, they don't understand, but then I ask them, what is it that you don't understand? Or please ask me whatever it is that you want to ask, and we can have that open discussion. Whereas at home and within the community, it's a very closed environment, and you can't have that open discussion. And it's a very much a negative one set mindset that this is what we know, we've always known this, but we're not going to change it. Whereas outwardly, people are willing to change and adapt to an extent. Yes, I want to shine light on, as much as we talk about Islamophobia and everybody is Islamophobic, equally on the other side, there are so many people out there that are open, that want to understand, that want to learn, that want to invite us, and they want us to be together. I actually think it's harder within our own communities to establish that, exactly what Dr. Kira was saying. So for me, my struggle with my hijab has actually been more difficult within my community than it has at work. At work, I would say the fact that I'm a female is harder as opposed to the fact that I'm hijabi. Yes, there's an element to that, but I would definitely say that if I had to pick one or the other, it would be that I'm a woman. Whereas within my community, it's I wear a hijab, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, I wear a hijab. But as Kiran said, it doesn't dictate your whole life, it doesn't change who you are. I talk about makeup all the time, I talk about skin all the time. I love all these things, I love that kind of life, and I'm fine to love it. I'm still observing the rules that I'm supposed to, that kind of a thing. So I think the challenge is, as she said, is more within our society, not only the males, the females. I think actually the challenges are with females, not the males. I mean, not that they can't take responsibility, but as you both have said, your mother's sons, you have an obligation to educate them. And I think a lot of what's missing is that the older or certain women in our society don't educate our men, so they don't understand either. I've had so many Asian men particularly that are like, oh, but you wear a hijab, so how can you go to an international conference, how can you present, etc. You're a Muslim hijabi woman, and I'm thinking, but they don't have an issue with it.
Now, I echo what you said as well. In my interfaith dialogue conversations we have for the last 2 years, we've been having these dialogues, and in those dialogues, we've picked out certain topics where we've got a safe environment where non-Muslims from different faiths or no faith have been at these tables. So we've had over 50 people. It's a women's discussion. We meet every quarterly. Because of COVID, we've not obviously been doing this since March, but every quarterly we meet, and through those conversations, I'm able to dismiss a lot of the stereotypes they have, or maybe paint a different picture. And it's not that they've been painted a picture of Muslim women from from the media. So these conversations have enabled us, and I felt when we've spoken to them, And they've asked these difficult questions because we do say at the beginning, you are allowed to ask each other anything. This is a safe environment. We will hold all confidentially. Oh, we went and we're back. And I felt they asked us these uncomfortable questions, but I've not been uncomfortable with answering those questions. And I find their responses very respectful and understanding. And actually, thank you for that. Now I'm less ignorant. I mean, I've had people say things like that to me. Okay, now I'm very mindful of the time. So far the conversation has been very fruitful. So we have focused on things like the challenges we face and stuff. My final question is, how do we move forward? I know Dr. Kiran talked about in relation to family within our culture. I mean, what steps do we need to take to overcome or deal with the inequalities that we have talked about? So anyone who's listening out there and is facing something that we have raised can feel empowered to do something about that situation or concern. Over to Dr. Kiran this time.
I went first last time. Maybe Aya wants to answer.
Sorry, I've lost track.
That's all right.
I think moving forward, I think panels like this, access to people who wear hijabs, who have perhaps broken some barriers, needs to be important. I think there needs to be open access to them. I think a lot of people struggle because they feel alone and they're not as outspoken. They don't feel comfortable to challenge their own families, to challenge their own society. And there needs to be some form of sisterhood where we are empowering them to kind of lead these discussions and feel more comfortable. I think one thing I always say to a lot of young people is don't underestimate the power of social media in terms of contacting people who you feel are role models and asking them to help, because more often than not, they will help. I'm sure Kiran has it. So many people message me, oh, how have you done it? How you wore a hijab? How are you married? How are you this? How are you that? And I then genuinely take my time to message them and say to them, look, it's okay, you know, you can do this, you can do that. And sometimes just having the backup of one person that perhaps is your role model can lead a large change. You know, I might be able to support one girl who will then have that conversation with her mom, who will then have the conversation with her boys, for example, or her families. You know, it's a chain of events. I think people really underestimate that one conversation. I think people think that they need to change the whole world or they need to change things at a higher level, but actually you change small things and they lead to that domino effect of larger change. So I think for me, my goal has always been to be very open to anybody. So if anybody wants to have that conversation with me, I'm here. If, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, there are difficult days, there are easier days. As Kiran said, there's times when you see, you know, we go to weddings and everyone's got their hair done and the earrings and everything, and you're just like and that is a challenge, and it isn't, you know, for me, like Kiran, it was harder during my adolescence, but now there is still times, you know, I might have gone to the hairdresser and had my hair done, and all I want to do is show everybody that I've just had my hair done. But you know, and these are real things that we face. But you see, the way I manage that is, yes, I've had my hair done, I really want to show, so I show my friend. Oh, I'm like, oh my God, look at my hair, you know, and that's an outlet for me. And there might be people out there who don't have that outlet, or who don't have friends that are hijabis, and then they might say, for example, show their hair to another friend who's Muslim and not hijabi, but she won't have that understanding per se, that say another friend who is a hijabi will, and she'll be really excited for her. And I hope that I can be that friend to whoever needs it, and I think that's really important.
Wonderful, wonderful. Dr. Kiran.
So, you know, I've said this before, but I think we need to have a change in the way that we bring up our girls and boys. And I'm sad to say that a lot of the misogyny and the patriarchy is actually held up by women, and that needs to change, in my honest opinion. We bring up women in Islam with the sole focus in this day and age at the moment is that their sole purpose in life is to get married. That they don't need to go to school, they don't necessarily need to get an education, that their sense of achievement will come when they've married someone. And I think that conversation is so detrimental to so many women, because it really is not what what Islam teaches us. We should be educating our women and our men. We should be educating the girls and the boys. We should be having conversations about body image, about self-respect, about self-care, all of these things that are often taboo in our culture. And until we start doing that, we're never going to get over the superficiality of what sometimes parenting in the South Asian communities can look like. It's not simply enough to provide food and clothes and let your kids go to school. You need to engage with them, find out what's going on, understand their challenges. Challenges today are different to challenges when I was at school, which was different to challenges when my parents were at school. And you have to move with the time. And I think this is where we as a community need to help parents, have conversations regarding hijab and the role of men and women, so that we understand what our duties are towards one another, towards our parents. I think the masajids have a really important role in welcoming women. Even to this day and age, I still get girls saying, "Oh, we're not allowed to go to our local masjid. There are no classes for us. There are no circles." It's horrendous, isn't it? Where is the equality there within our own community? And I think, like Aya had said, it's about having those channels of communication open, so that people that feel vulnerable and girls that feel like they've lost hope have an outlet to reach out to. And I have it a lot on my Instagram. Girls will reach out and say, my mum is forcing me to marry X, Y, and Z, and my dad said he'll disown me or whatever. And it's really harrowing that this is 2020, and we're still facing these issues.
Yes, true. I think there's a question Tanzim wants to ask. Tanzim? I don't know if she can come on.
Yes, I'm back. I think just before we wrap up, because our discussion, I think we're having audio issue.
Sorry, Tanzim, we can't hear you for some reason. I mean, I think I've seen one of the questions, and maybe I could ask that question. Marina Saeed Shah has asked the panelists, do the panelists think the next generation of hijabi women won't have these issues, seeing as our generation is trying to tackle these issues in this generation? Dr. Aya?
I actually think they're going to change. They're going to face different challenges that are equally as difficult. Yes, they may not fit. They are trying to challenge the patriarchy, the way the men speak to us, etc. And I understand that, but I think now social media, the way the hijab is portrayed, self-confidence, self-image, I think they are the challenges that they are going to face that are actually equally as difficult. They may be challenging things at home where now they can go to university, lead successful lives, have careers, etc., which we may have found difficult, but perhaps for us, image, etc., wasn't such a big thing. I mean, I know that when I was younger, we didn't have social media. The first time I straightened my hair, I think I was about 17. These challenges didn't exist as much when I was younger. For me, the challenge was attending university, having a career and things like that. Whereas I think now, this generation, that's not as much of a struggle, as you said, because they are challenging that. But now it's about going to university but maintaining a certain appearance, looking a certain way, being confident in the way you appear. Are you fashionable? That's now, I think, becoming one of the biggest challenges of that our young girls face at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you, Aya. I think they will have different challenges. But actually, I don't necessarily think that this issue will have gone away. We know that change takes hundreds of years sometimes to come through. And sadly, it's what our deen teaches us, right? Islam says to not go by the way of your forefathers, that you should go out and seek knowledge and you should learn your deen for yourself. And I think the issue is that unfortunately a lot of people still do what their forefathers have taught them. So because no one their family has gone to school, the women won't go to school, or because everybody does this way. And I think it is really hard sometimes to take on that emotional struggle, especially because these aren't strangers. These are people that know you really well and perhaps know all of your vulnerabilities. So I do think that the next generation will also have that challenge, as well as additional challenges of things like social media, and I think the challenge for the generation to come is holding on to the deen in a time where religion is not necessarily seen as forward thinking, and where secularism is spouted as the norm.
Yes, you've both touched upon, I think, issues the youth are feeling today. I mean, as a private tutor, I get to see a lot of teenagers, sitting their GCSEs, doing their A levels, and forever having discussions. And mostly it is about what Dr. Aya said about the appearance. And having said that, as a 40-year-old, I could be scrolling through things and think, gosh, I look nothing like this. I need to have cheekbone like this. My lips need to be a certain way. My nose isn't allowed. I mean, all sorts doing. And then honestly, I literally felt this. And then I unfollowed people because it was a pressure on me. So, yes, I'm very mindful. Dr. Aya has got a patient coming through. I want to just say that as Muslim women, yes, we are facing challenges, and it's great to see Muslim women like yourself who are challenging these in social media. You're telling them at work, and you are making our path for the young generation a little bit more easier. I would like to thank both of you, especially for sharing your personal experiences candidly, and your positive attitude in the face of adversity has been empowering. I know I'm going to take a lot away from this today, and I hope our audience has done too. And before we go, could we all remember Dr. Kiran's grandma, who's not very well in hospital? May Allah give her complete shifa and hope she recovers very soon. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum to everybody.